And they see now, with that win, they get to the top of the table once again. 2 points clear of Real Madrid, who are in action tomorrow. Atletico just 3 points back of Barcelona at 31 points. All right, let's talk on this Barcelona team. A win's a win. I wouldn't say it was the most convincing win, but after their loss to Chelsea in the Champions League, important for them to get back to winning ways.
You just wanted to see a response. Hansi Flick, no doubt, would have wanted to see a response from his team. They would have been disappointed to go 1-0 down, of course, in this scenario, in this situation, the emotion that would have gone into this game. But again, it was about the response, the key word that you alluded to. You wanted to see Barcelona go out and demonstrate who they are in terms of possession, putting pressure on teams in the final third, and of course their fluid football and letting their individual brilliance flow. And most importantly, the return of key players. That can't be understated in terms of watching Pedri come back out here today. Watching Raphinha, of course, impact the game once again. Dani Olmo getting his legs underneath him and getting consistency. There's a reason as to why they've built this foundation. They've built this success. And let's be honest, it's not quite panic circuits yet. It isn't quite the circus that they want, but the fluidity isn't there. But you're still talking about a team that scored almost 40 goals already.
And you know, context matters, and we like to talk about Barcelona when they're struggling. Oh, things are going wrong. What's going wrong? But in reality, this is a team that's been marred by injuries, and everyone has to deal with injuries. But when you have players out, like a Pedri, who came back in this match, it really does change things for Barcelona. Pedri being back changes the entire dynamic of how this team is able to move from midfield to attack to score goals. How big was Pedri being back?
I think the conversation around Raphinha being the world's best centre midfielder or Moses Caicedo being the world's best centre midfielder, let's not forget Pedri's in that same class. He is of that world-class ilk as well. And the way that he can dictate and impact his team really is exemplified in terms of just his impact the second he steps on a pitch. You want to say a sign of respect from your teammates? Well, the second you come on the pitch, they give you the captain's armband. That lets you know in terms of overall the respect they have for you, and they recognise what you bring to their team in a number of different ways. Possession domination, the areas that he finds himself in, the odd goal that he pops up with as well. I'm telling you now, there isn't many footballers in world football that are as good on the ball and off the ball like Pedri, and happy to see him. Whether it's half an hour and it'll build up to an hour, no doubt, and then of course the full 90 minutes, it's good just to see him back at the pinnacle time of the season.
It really does change everything that Barcelona's able to do. He really does dictate the pace of the game and how they're able to control the ball in that midfield. He is so important. 30 minutes today, hopefully building up to now being able to be full strength for this Barcelona side moving forward. Another player that has now started to return. We've
common theme today, right?
It is. It really is. And that's how you know that this Barcelona side really needs their players back to be at the top level. And yet, they're still at the top of the table right now in La Liga. So that goes to show you. Raphinha coming back. And Raphinha, he had the captain's armband in this match early on before giving it to Pedri. And I think that he is showing just how important he is. After the match, he had some really interesting quotes. One of them being, "Sometimes I feel like I'm annoying my teammates, but I feel important. I demand more from players that I know are capable. If there has to be someone annoying in the dressing room, I don't mind if it's me." Raphinha last year, I will go out and say it, Lamine Yamal, we know the magic that he is and the generational player that he is. But for me, Raphinha was the best player for Barcelona last season. And it's not only his ability on the pitch, but it's his leadership as well. These quotes show you how important he is for that dressing room and how it can really change the dynamic of this team when he's on the pitch.
Can I also back it up with another quote?
Yeah.
In terms of from your manager, and I always say, you can have a self-reflection for yourself in terms of how you see yourself and the demands that you put on yourself, word to Nipsey Hussle. But the opposite thing is how your peers see you. And listening to Hansi Flick turn around and describe him as, we've missed him. His impact in terms of what he brings to a team is unquestionable. For me, overall, the intensity, when he starts to press, everyone decides they want to join in. That really showcases overall how his peers see him, how his manager sees him, and of course what you've alluded to, the importance within this team. Raphinha is a leader. I know it isn't always a sort of vocal leader you expect and always in the typical frame, but this gentleman right here understands exactly the responsibility of wearing a Barcelona shirt and has grown so much over the last 18 to 24 months in terms of what he needs to do for his peers. I just feel like he's an exceptional footballer and world footballer, and nobody can argue with you to say that he wasn't the most important person for Barcelona last year.
Without a doubt. And you see it now, how he is respected in that locker room, and he says he doesn't care if he's annoying everybody. He needs to get the best out of everyone. You need that in a team who's trying to go out and win 2 or 3 trophies in a season. You need a player like that. And what he does on the pitch, not only attacking, but tracking back and defending. He's running all over the place. That is what really, I think, mars the difference between a Barcelona side without him and with him. It's a completely different side, in my opinion. We talk about players coming back. Again, another player coming back, Dani Olmo, who's had to deal with the registration issues, with the injury issues. He comes back, gets a brace for Barcelona in this game. His third goal in 16 club appearances this season. 4 goals in 16 club appearances this season. Again, another player that just gives another refreshing dynamic to this Barcelona side. How important is he to having this Barcelona side in full strength?
I just love the fact that we can look at this bench and we can look at the quality of this squad and we can see that they're growing. There's no need for in terms of further investment. If you're talking about a club that has understood the infrastructure and building around the academy and these players that have come through, that's one thing. But also riddling it with experienced players who have played at the top level in world football for club and country, like Dani Olmo, is going to be another thing. And the qualities that he brings in terms of chances created, the touches and the way that he dictates tempo, he's an absolute joy to watch when he's on his day. And I really do think he's a midfield maestro. That headline isn't good enough in terms to describe Dani Olmo, because when he's a 10, believe me, he's through the roof.
I got a question for you.
Hit me.
With Barcelona, when they're at full strength, is this a better side than Real Madrid at full strength?
Yes, 100%. I do believe so. Only because of the fluidity, the cohesion, and also the togetherness. They've been together a little bit longer. I think defensively, there's still massive questions. We can have the conversation around the high line, but you need another hour here on Scoreline. The only thing is, for us, in terms of goals are always going to be a decider, and the quality they have in the final third. And this is no disrespect to Kylian Mbappe, because really said he's one of the best, if not the best, number 9 in world football. But the other pieces, the Lewandowski's, your Marcus Rashford's, the list goes on in terms of the players that are there to impact a game. And the second a defender sees one go off, he's got another one that's coming on to prove a point. So I just think the depth that they have leads them as a better overall position than Real Madrid. But it's going to be an interesting title chase because they still have to manage those injuries.